My wife brought up something she did for me when we had a disagreement.
Well, you shouldn't be mad at her anymore because she washed the dishes.
I, 36 male, have known my wife, 37 female, half my life. We reconnected 10 years ago and started dating a little less than 7 years ago and have been married for 4 years. I bought our current house 10 years ago before we started dating and refinanced when rates were below 3%. We were together then and decided to just have me on the loan. I'm a government employee making roughly $120K a year, and she works in education making roughly $40K. Quick rundown on our finances. We joined our finances when we got married. By the way, this comes from throwaway Joss Joe 87. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Oh, I have roughly $4K in credit card debt. She has around $10K in credit card and auto loan debt, plus she brought $50K in student loans, currently sitting around $25K. We came up with a budget and planned to tackle these debts while also investing in retirement plans from our jobs. A year ago, her grandfather passed away and she received around $150K. She sat down and asked what we should do with the money. With our salary, we can easily pay more than the minimums on our debts, plus set aside for retirement and vacation funds. I told her it was her money to use as she wanted. She decided to pay off the mortgage that was in my name. She met with a tax specialist and figured out the numbers. Honestly, this made me cry because it was genuinely one of the kindest things anyone has ever done for me.
Well,
fast forward to last Friday. She's never gonna let you forget that it was the kindest thing. We both got home around the same time and started doing our normal routine after work. We chat about how work went and relaxed for a bit. She cooked dinner and I cleaned up afterward. I loaded the dishwasher and sat down to play Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm not a huge gamer by any means. My wife heard me mention that I wanted that game and its sequel that just came out, so she surprised me with them. I just told her I'd be playing for roughly an hour, which is how long I usually play before my eyes hurt. She sat down and cracked open a book like usual. It's something we do most days. That's
cute.
Lovely.
Cute.
Roughly an hour later, she gets up and says, "It's my turn to take out the trash." I replied, "Okay, give me 5 minutes because I'm fighting this boss." "I paid the effing mortgage and you can't get off your butt to do this for me?"
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa,
Where
girl.
did this come from?
She must have had a bad day.
I must have been.
Must have. I'm shocked at this point because she's never like this. We communicated early on in our relationship when she moved into our house that if she wanted me to do something, to ask, and I would do it. If I was already busy doing something, I would give her an honest timeline on when I could do it. That if she needed it done immediately, then to let me know, and I would stop what I was doing and do it. This has worked wonderfully until then. I pause the game, take the trash outside, and just try to get my anger under control. She has never yelled at me before, but honestly, it's the holding this over my head that hurts my heart. I didn't ask her to do it, and our salary was more than enough to allow her to keep the money saved for herself. Eventually, I go back inside and told her I don't like her holding that over my head and that I never asked her to do that for me. She replied that I was ungrateful and gave me the silent treatment. They got to have a conversation about that.
Absolutely.
They got to have a big old conversation.
You can wait 3 minutes.
Yeah.
While he fights this boss. Like,
yeah.
You're paying off his mortgage, but he's fighting monsters for you,
He's
dude.
fighting monsters
He's fighting
for you.
literally monsters.
I don't, the thing is that I don't think it is uncommon to be snippy. I think that
Sure.
happens in every marriage.
Yeah.
I think you're always going to have days, like that. I think the problem is using paying off the mortgage as a excuse to, or like as a reason to get mad.
Yeah.
Saying, well, you have to do everything I say because I did this.
Right. Because that kind of sets like a precedent of like any good favor that I do for you, it means
it's not a favor.
Yeah, it's like a transaction.
It's a transaction.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next morning, she apologized to me in tears and said stress from work got to her.
There you go.
I believe she is telling the truth because some of her students are in harmful homes and child services haven't done anything to protect those kids. This whole issue is wildly out of character for her. My question is, how do I handle this? I'm not leaving her because this is the first and only time she's acted this way. She did say it though, and it still hurts. So how do I move on from this? Exactly what we already said.
Yeah.
There is an update, but like talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
Just say, hey, I understand. That happens to everyone, but please don't use that in this way. It was very hurtful to me.
Yeah. And you were right. It was just a bad day. It's just a fluke.
Just a fluke. But I do worry that, If she has another bad day, is she going to use this again?
True.
And that's why you have to have the conversation now.
Exactly.
Update, I cooked dinner for my wife last night, and after we had a nice and heartfelt conversation. She started the conversation by asking me if something was wrong because I made her favorite dish. She seemed nervous. I told her there was something wrong, and it was that I effed up big time when she paid the mortgage off. She started to interrupt, and I asked her to let me finish because I wasn't mad at her. I told her I was going to add her to the deed, and it should have happened as soon as she paid off her house. Whoa, she's not on the deed?
Interesting.
Yeah, the fact that she paid for it, she should definitely be on the deed.
I agree.
She started crying, telling me that I didn't have to do that, and I told her that I wanted to, and apologized for not doing so sooner. Wow, wait. Okay, it's kind of nice. She tried making excuses for me as to why I didn't do it sooner. She mentioned something that I had actually forgot about it. Shortly before she paid the house off, I had received a letter saying my FAA Class 2 medical certificate application had been denied for a medical issue, and I needed to see some doctors before they could reissue my Class 2. Honestly, this wasn't a big deal and was something that had happened to me before, and I thought that I had reassured her enough that everything was going to be okay. I said that I had forgot about that entire episode because it may have seemed like a big deal, but it really wasn't. I reiterated that I effed up big time and asked for her forgiveness, which she gave me. I asked her if not being added to the deed had bothered her, and she said it hurt her feelings, and it hurt to hear that because that is the last thing I ever wanted to do to her. I told her I would take Monday, today, off, and if she could take a few hours off at the end of her day, that we would add her to the deed. Wait, okay, I love that OP was like, why would she bring that up?
Yeah.
This is so out of character.
Yeah.
I understand she was stressed, but why would she bring up the deed or the mortgage?
Yeah.
And then literally was like, oh, it's because she's not on the deed.
And then he fixed it.
And then he fixed it.
Beautiful.
Like, amazing.
Yeah.
You know, wow, good job, OP.
Good job.
She said that she would do that, but wanted to take the whole day and we could go in the morning and then spend the rest of the day together.
Aww.
This is so sweet. It better not turn out bad. We kept talking and I brought up if things were more stressful at work than what she had let on. And she said that one of her students showed up and her clothes were covered in cat pee. Ugh.
Oh,
Not the
man.
first or second time for this little girl.
Oh.
She was crying at this point and she curled up and laid her head on my lap. I tried my best to soothe her by playing with her hair, and eventually she was able to start to relax. She volunteered that the little girl and some of her other students had been on her mind when she snapped at me. I had an idea on where this was going to go. Backstory, my wife found out in her early 20s that she wouldn't be able to have children. I won't go into detail as to why. Why is it fair that terrible people get to have children and I can't? Oh, this is so sad.
Oh my gosh.
I did my best to reassure her that I love her regardless and that maybe we could look into adoption like we discussed before we got married. My wife told me that when she reminded me it was my turn to take out the trash, that she wanted to walk and talk with me. Context on our house, we have a few acres of land and it's about a 5-minute walk to the pole trailer where we toss the garbage that I take every Saturday to the dump. She planned on asking me how I felt about fostering some of these kids.
Oh.
Wow. Despite my previous posts, some of these kids do get removed, but unfortunately, some do end up going back most of the time. We have the extra room, and I said that we could definitely do that. These people are perfect for each other.
This is amazing.
We talked about ways to try and manage her stress better, and she mentioned that when we go hiking, it helps her clear her mind and relax, so we agreed to do more hiking. I mentioned seeing a therapist as well, and she was open to that idea, so we will be looking into that for her. I reassured her if she feels overwhelmed that we are in this together, and she just smiled and said, I know, in a Han Solo voice. And we both just erupted in laughter. These people are so lovely.
I like that, what the title was pretty much about.
Yeah.
Already fixed.
Already fixed.
It's
like
already
these people fixed it,
Yeah.
went beyond fixing it.
Yeah.
And now are even going further and finding
Right.
ways to fix more problems
Yeah.
that weren't even brought up.
Now we just get a beautiful story of this couple.
Like learning how to foster kids.
Exactly. This is so lovely.
Eventually, we circled back around to her inheritance, and I asked her if she regretted using her inheritance to pay off our house, and she said no. She thought about it and considered paying off other debts, but wanted to do this for us. She said the tax specialist advised her to pay off other debts first, but she wanted to know how doing this would affect our taxes. At the time, student loan interests were frozen and our credit cards were transferred to 0% interest cards. She understood that paying them off first and using the rest on the mortgage was probably still the better move, but she wanted the larger debt knocked out. She asked how I felt about slowing down our retirement saving and investing and just steamrolling the rest of the debt. I can retire at 50 and have to retire at 56, and I've been preparing since I joined the Air Force and continued in my current position. In my TSP alone, I'm closer to 2 million than 1 million. We will be just fine in retirement, but we both love to travel and I want to continue to see the world. We discussed this at length before I mentioned that instead of going to Australia for our 5th anniversary, that we had enough saved for it that we could just pay off the debt right now and still have enough to go to France. In particular, Paris instead. But you should go to full episodes of stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to this story, but wow, I love these people.
I do too. This is such a nice, like,
Wholesome.
palate cleanser.
Yeah,
like,
from all the stories that we read about cheating and terribleness.
It's just like, oh, how lovely.
How lovely. Two people who communicated and realized that there was something underneath the surface. And it wasn't just,
And at the end of the day, they just love each other.
They just love each other. So, moral of the story before we finish it off.
Yeah.
Guys, get curious with your partners. If they snippy, if they get snippy, if they yell at you, maybe before, unless it's something serious.
Sure.
Before we're like, oh, how dare they do that? Let's say, like,
yeah.
Did something happen at work today?
Yeah.
That's not normal. You don't normally do, you don't usually do that. What is something happen with family? Let's get curious.
Exactly.
Communication.
Exactly.
And maybe it'll happen just like this and be beautiful and perfect.
Exactly.
She smiled and asked me if I was sure because Australia is my #1 bucket list destination. I told her she always wanted to spend Christmas in Paris. So why not do it this year and pay off our debts? Australia can be our 10th anniversary trip. So our debt is completely paid off and we're going to Paris for Christmas. Let's just say that made her very, very happy. So we both used a sick day today and were able to meet with a real estate attorney and tax specialist. Without getting into details, there were a few potential drawbacks that were discussed with us, but ultimately nothing too drastic. Overall, it took about 3 hours and now my wife is officially on the deed. We are about to head out for a late lunch, then curl up in bed and binge watch Chicago Fire. Edit for a technicality, everything has been turned in for her to be on the deed. The wife and I consider it done and just waiting to get it officially official. So if that bothers people, then oh well. And that's the end of that beautiful story.
Wow.
I love it.
Lovely.
So lovely.
Problem was solved so fast.
So fast.
So easy. And with so much love for both sides.
Really so much love.
Just a little mistake one day. She just got a little snippy and frustrated.
Little snippy, snappy comment.
That's all,
and
man.
Then beautiful perfection.
Beautiful. My wife is angry that I'm moving out after she asked for a divorce.
It's mixed signals, man.
My wife and I started the process of separation late last year at her request. The living situation has become very challenging. Some basic info. My wife and I have been married for close to 7 years in California. We are in our late 30s. She has decided that she wants to find out who she is away from me and wants to divorce to start over and maybe we can find each other again. She feels since I have always given her everything, she's become useless as a human and can't contribute to our relationship. She says she still loves and respects me, but wants more from our relationship and from herself. We have no children. I don't want a divorce, but she is pretty determined at this point. By the way, this comes from IC University 96.3, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I've always been the primary breadwinner of the household and support her in any endeavors she pursues. From photography, painting, design, plants, etc., she was always trying to find a new path. She works odd jobs and at this point brings in maybe less than $10K to the household per year. When we got together, she was burnt out on a career and started trying to find a new path. She has made it clear that she doesn't want anything from our assets as it would be stealing my effort. We own 4 properties, 2 cars paid off, about $600K plus investments, and no debt other than mortgages. I've brought this up multiple times that we can divvy out our assets to get her started, but she is very against it. Her family is fairly wealthy from outside the USA, and she wouldn't have trouble getting decent financial support from them.
I feel like she's like always been super wealthy and always had people kind of like supporting her, and she's like, I want to make it on my own.
Yeah.
I want to see what's out there in the real world.
Yeah, I feel like if she didn't have that life growing up already, she wouldn't just get that from the husband.
Yeah.
Her therapist convinced her to do a trial separation before committing to divorce. When we started the separation process, it was very difficult to be in the same house together. She said that she wanted to move out, and I supported her in this. The primary issue is that she doesn't have much money. She's got $500 in her private checking, so I told her that she could have whatever she wanted. We had over $80K in our savings at the time and said that she could get started with that. She refused. She said the money was my effort and it would be stealing. Despite my efforts of telling her it's our money and not my money, she continued to decline. I said that I could loan her the money, but she refused and said that I was manipulating her to take money and would have more control over her. Interesting. She said that she wanted to save up and move out. My heart was breaking every day staying in the house. While not working, I would just lay in bed and cry. I decided to stay with family in Indiana for a while. She was upset by this as she said that she was the one that was supposed to leave the house. But you refused to leave the house. So
like, I was supposed to make it on my own in the big city.
That's like when siblings, like an older sibling is like, I was supposed to get married first. It's like, well, find someone then.
Then do it.
Yeah. Like, sorry. I told her that she wasn't making progress quick enough to move out and I needed to leave because I was really sad and depressed. While I was visiting family, I made the decision to buy a very small condo close to my family. I figured I could live closer to family and she could stay in the current house until she was ready to figure out what she wanted to do. I consulted her about me moving. At first, she was supportive of this, but was still upset that she would stay in the house and rely on me to pay the mortgage. I offered money again and told her to set all the terms, but was just met with hostility. She told me I was being controlling and manipulative. When I asked her to clarify how she viewed I was doing that, or I would express that that was not my intention, she would get more upset. Things just remained static for some time. A couple of weeks ago, I came back to our house to pack the remainder of my belongings. Our relationship seemed to be doing well and even seemed like we might pull through this. Then she just broke down tonight. She said that it's not fair that I have money and can move away, that I'm disrespectful towards her and that I can just throw my money around and go have fun. I said that I didn't view moving as fun and starting in a new city where I have very few connections is going to be difficult for me. I told her I wasn't trying to be disrespectful and asked how I can support or what are some options we can move forward with. She just kept coming back to how angry she is with me. I figured maybe she was just really upset and just needed to vent. So I just did my best to listen and empathize with her viewpoint.
Poor man.
I know, it sounds like she might be the one manipulating him.
Absolutely, I think she is.
Yeah, she's trying to get control of her life.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to steal from that, but that also means that she doesn't want to leave because she wants to make her own money.
Yeah.
But also her husband can't leave because that's not fair.
I think she has this whole idea in her life, like about what her life should be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this fantasy that she doesn't actually understand the reality of.
Yeah.
She's like, if I just leave my husband, I can start anew and have this dream life. But then she's like, oh, wait, my husband is actually going to leave me.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, my husband's leaving the house that we spent. Oh, wait, I don't have money to do what I want to do.
Because she was like, maybe we'll find our way back to each other. And she's now not going to know where he is. Yeah. And that is probably stressing her out. After her attacks started to get more personal and mean, I asked her what my options are. She yelled at me saying that she doesn't care about my options. It's her options that she's concerned about and she feels like she doesn't have any. So she's angry at me and calling me an a-hole for moving while she feels stuck. So you're wrong, girl. It's not about your options. It's about OP's, you silly goose. After that portion of the conversation, she told me that she just wants to cry in peace and wishes that she could go get a hotel for the night. I offered that I could leave to stay somewhere else for the night or pay for her hotel. She started yelling at me that I'm an a-hole, that I'm trying to steal her wish of staying in a hotel. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
She started saying some pretty mean things and I didn't like how she was treating me with name calling. So I told her that I was going for a walk. She mockingly told me to stay at a hotel and have fun. I walked to a diner to have a cup of coffee and read a book. She called me about an hour later asking where I was. I told her and she responded, so are you spending the night there? I'm going to bed. And then hung up. That was around 8:45 p.m.
Oh my goodness.
I walked back to the house and she went to bed when I got home. Am I doing something wrong by moving? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Am I the a-hole? And there are some comments, but what do you think?
I think that you need to not think about your wife anymore. I think that don't think about, am I doing something wrong? Whatever. What do you need?
Yeah.
What is going to be the most beneficial for your health?
Exactly.
And, mind. And
Exactly.
peace of mind. And I think that might be moving out.
Yeah, you have to do it anyway. Yeah, because especially since she has made the decision to look out for herself and clearly is not thinking about how you feel at all, because she literally just dropped the divorce bomb on you.
Yeah.
That is something that you need to heal from, whether you might find your way back to each other or not. That's something that he's needs to deal with, because this came out of nowhere, it seems.
Yeah.
And even though she's not thinking about you, you got to think about you. No one else will.
No one else is going to think about you unless you think about you.
So there are some comments. Comment number 1 says, not the a-hole. Your wife is a mess and needs therapy ASAP. I feel like she's projecting. Her claim that you are stealing anything by offering her financial support to achieve her own accomplishments, moving out, finding a creative career path, or whatever, is actually kind of delusional. I get her sentiment that she can't stay in a relationship where she has herself started to hate to a seriously worrisome degree. But as you tell the story, I actually see no option for you to help her or save this relationship. She needs help and you need distance from her. Stay strong. Opie says she's in therapy but doesn't want to go anymore. She is very distrusting of the medical system. My friends are telling me that I need to really cut ties and move on. Just emotionally difficult. Someone else responds, I totally get that. It's written all between the lines in your post that you are still in love with her. But if the actual reality is as you stated is, she is no longer in love with you and it will continue to harm you, trying to make something work as in your marriage that she wants to destroy by any means. And okay, no one can force her to therapy, but maybe therapy can be a good and healthy way for you to deal with your feelings. Someone else responds, I disagree that she is no longer in love with him. She's having an existential crisis and is unhappy with her life. She wants to change it, but isn't sure exactly what she needs to change or how it will affect her. She needs to change, but is scared of it. So she's lashing out at the person closest to her because that's always been a safe option. She is taking him for granted and will be hit by reality when she realizes that he's not coming back. I can see this ultimately ending in her unaliving herself. Okay.
Oh my God.
That's kind of drastic. I don't know if it'll go there.
Yeah.
But I kind of do agree with that comment a little bit. If they've been married for a while, I feel like there's a way to come back from this.
Yeah.
Definitely sucks. But if it was just the divorce and she wanted to find herself and then she went off and did that, then yeah, it's probably over. But the fact that she is freaking out and it doesn't really know what to do with herself kind of feels like this is just a cry for help in a way.
Yeah, I can totally see that. But there's not really much OP can do if she's not willing to get medical help.
No, exactly.
And she keeps pushing him away.
Right. The only way that it really could get better is if she kind of puts in that effort.
Yeah.
Commenter number 2 says, not the a-hole. She has no idea what she wants to do besides being pissed off and giving you crap. She complains that she has no options, then won't let you give her any or exercise any of your own. I feel like she's watched some movie where a bored housewife leaves her dull life and goes on a wild adventure of self-discovery, but like those romanticized movies, hasn't considered how she's supposed to afford it. The difference being that a movie can just ignore that problem, but real life can't. And now she's angry at herself for doing something so dumb. I would tell her that you're moving out and go live in the condo or wherever. Then just do it. Don't worry about what options she does or doesn't have. She's the one who wants the magical divorce of self-discovery and is refusing to do anything further about it or take help. You don't have to hang around putting up with her anger and insults and frustration over it. Comment number 3 says, did the therapist not recommend any couples counseling? She isn't making any sense. I don't know if that's because she's not telling you the whole truth or because she's having some kind of identity crisis, but it'd be nice to know for you. So you could either move on with understanding or hold on with hope. Opie says, we started with marriage counseling, but she said that our therapist was taking my side and didn't like her. So she wanted to do individual therapy instead. We have been doing that, but she's getting to the point where she doesn't like her therapist now. And that just might be because they're calling out your behavior.
Yeah.
Sorry, girl. That's what you got to self-reflect in therapy.
The therapist is like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing that. And she's like, my therapist is out to get me.
Yeah. There is an edit. Thanks for all the support and feedback so far. Just a note on mental health and therapy. My wife was recently diagnosed to have bipolar 2.
This is relevant.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
She's very skeptical of the diagnosis and refuses medication. I haven't done well in understanding this mental health issue. We started marriage therapy in November, but only lasted a few sessions. She said the therapist took my side too much. My wife had tried a variety of therapists in our years together, but usually stops after a month or two because she thinks that they're dumb. Edit number 2, there has been a ton of constructive input. Thank you for that. It's a lot to read, but I'm trying to read it all. I want to mention a few things about jobs, family, and divorce. Before we were married, she had a strong, successful career over 10 years. She was extremely burnt out and decided to find a new career. She's been doing that since we have been together and generally won't settle for basic jobs. She is trying to find something to advance her career paths, but with little success. On family, she doesn't have the most supportive family. They make her out to be the bad guy, which makes her angry. If she stayed with her family, I think it would do more harm than good. I've messaged her father about asking him to be supportive of his daughter, but I know that they are upset as well. On divorce, I've been dragging my feet on this. I keep telling myself that it might get better, that I can be a better husband and she can be a better wife. I know it seems delusional at this point, but divorce is not something that I wanted, and I struggle to get my mind there. It's hard to see my wife as a mean or vindictive person. I've always tried to see the amazing things in her and to be supportive. There are moments in these past months where she tells me that she's crazy and that she is hurting me. She has moments of reflection and grief on how she reacts to the situations. So I get hooked back in that this can still be resolved.
This is like very much like bipolar.
Yeah.
This is, yeah.
Edit number 3, she approached me this morning. She apologized for the way that she treated me yesterday. She said that she thinks it's better that I do move out and she thinks that she isn't good for me. I didn't say much and just agreed with her. When I started to agree with her, she started to backtrack and started to get mad again. She was going back to last night's issues and she left crying and blaming me again. Yeah, that's hard. She was definitely like looking for
him to reassure her and say like, no, you shouldn't.
Like rather than just apologizing and like things resolving that way, she kind of just wanted to just have him tell her that like it's fine and she's okay.
Oops. Yep.
So story time. Okay, story time. I feel like she isn't getting a completely fair shake in all this. I made this thread specifically about her anger towards me for moving out, but I'm not innocent in our relationship and have been far from the perfect husband. This will be a long read, so feel free to ignore. Don't worry, OP, we will not ignore. We're going to read this whole thing. Buckle up. I'm going to cover how and why we got married, our perspectives on a marriage, and a brief timeline that led us here. My perspective on a healthy marriage is that we are each confident in ourselves. We want each other and not need each other. We support each other and cheer each other on. We are there to help bring out better versions of ourselves. We listen, empathize, and respect one another. Her perspective, that I learned much later, is that we need to create a family together. Not with kids, but that we have a life project, such as having the same jobs or hobbies. That we are always with each other in every moment. That we move slowly in life. An example that she likes to use is that if we are walking in a park, there should be moments where we see a beautiful plant and sit there and contemplate the plant. That we are always on the move exploring our surroundings. That we have the same schedules, as in when she gets up, I get up, and when she goes to bed, I go to bed. Some people viewed our relationship as a Hallmark story. She was a foreign exchange student at my dad's house 22 years ago. I lived with my mom and would visit my dad. We had crushes on each other and she invited me to prom. We dated very briefly before she went back to her home country. We fell out of contact when we went to college. Fast forward 15 years and my dad he is going to pass away. Oh no. I reach out to her asking if she wants to say any goodbyes. We start talking a lot and she decides to come see him in person. We fall madly in love, brought us back to teenage years. My dad recovers, or so we think. We want to stay together and not worry about long distance, so we get married. 2 weeks after that, my dad passed away. Oh, I tried to be the stable person for my family and never really had a chance to grieve, nor did I go to therapy. When we first got together, I didn't need to work much. We were very active physically and mentally. A few months after my dad passed away, we went on a road trip with friends, and then one of them passed away in a motorcycle accident. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
I felt like I was surrounded by people passing away. I didn't go to therapy, and I reverted into a computer screen. I played lots of games to distract myself. We still did a lot of things together and traveled a fair amount, but not up to her standards. I didn't really explore the city much with her and wasn't good at getting her involved in my friend circle. At one point, I told her that it's important that she makes her own friends. My friend circle at the time were all coworkers. She expressed her concerns to me about gaming and exploring the city, and I took what she said seriously. I said I need help working through this and want her patience and support. I unfortunately didn't get that. Fast forward, and I think things are getting better. When I ask her, she says that things are better, but in reality, she is harboring loads of resentment. And then the pandemic hits. We are with each other 24/7, and I work remote. The pandemic was kind of fun for the first 6 months. We created a cafe on our back patio where we were the only guests. We had Netflix binge days, board games, and family Zoom calls. I'm getting bored out of my mind at some point and play a lot of games again. I think this is okay because she is watching TV, handcrafts, etc. Later, I find out that she wanted us to be doing a family project together. Not something that we were both interested in, but something that she's passionate about. So in this case, breakfast was extremely important to her. So I made adjustments to get up earlier to start making breakfast with her. The theme here is if she is bothered by something, I do my best to adjust within reason. I'm far from perfect in this and I do fail, but always try again. I'm a fairly introspective person and want to become a better human and husband. The main issue overall with this is that even when I adjust, she still holds resentment. Also, an important bit of information. My wife has some medical issues that knocks her out of commission for about 5 to 7 days a month. Every time this has happened for the past 6 years, I take care of her. Physical necessities like food, medicine, massages, and emotional necessities like listening, comfort, support, lots of hugs. 4 years into our marriage, my 13-year-old dog is diagnosed with congestive heart failure.
Can't catch a break.
Can't catch a break. Man. I've had my baby girl since she was 2 months old. I spent a lot of time taking care of her and thousands on vet visits. I started not going on trips, not going out for some activities, and generally staying home a lot. Going to dinner or under 3-hour events were fine, but I generally didn't leave my dog alone for long. Because we were home so much, I would entertain myself when my wife went out with friends or she was doing things. But she had grown resentful more that we weren't doing anything because of the dog. This happened for like 2 years. She felt like she sacrificed her life to come to a country that she didn't want to be in or liked. That it would be okay if I gave her the attention that she deserved. So she felt alone. This broke my heart. That feels like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? We're 4 years in?
Yeah.
It's 6 years at this point, and you're telling me now that you don't like this country?
Yeah,
like,
it's
you
like
didn't
maybe
want to
we
be
could have
here?
talked about this before.
Yeah, before you moved here, we got married.
Yeah, she's like, I've been feeling this the whole time.
Yeah,
I never brought it up, but
yeah,
we have to move.
and I have resented you this whole time
It's
too.
your fault. I know I never told you, but you should have read my mind.
Exactly. But we will never resent you if you go to iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime, because you're going to find full episodes with more stories just like this one.
It's true.
Get on over there. And there is a little bit more to the story, but yeah, do we have any final thoughts before we move on?
It seems like they've been together a total of 6 years. Is that-
They've been married for 6 years,
Yeah,
but it does feel like they got married pretty fast.
Yeah.
So
I think the same thing. I think that your marriage cannot be fixed without both of you working to fix it. And right now she's not working to fix it.
yeah, exactly. Like it's just kind of all of a sudden like, oh, I have problems when
Yeah.
everything seemed pretty perfect at
Yeah.
first.
And
So
I mean, like, it does seem like she has mental health problems, but she's not willing to actually work or get help for them.
yeah, exactly. So there's a little bit more to the story. When my dog passed away, I was a mess, but I vowed to build a better family with her. We traveled for close to 3 months. We started planning to move somewhere and start exploring the world. I thought things were going great. I wasn't playing games anymore. We were very active again physically, and we were planning for the future. Then she dropped the divorce part on me a few days after my birthday.
Oh, jeez.
Gosh.
Terrible timing.
After seeing all the comments about bipolar 2, I think it's always been an active part of our relationship. I've seen this pattern before, but thought it was my fault. I have a hard time distinguishing what is a normal relationship and what is not at this point. or if I'm a piece of crap or not. From the outside perspective, our friends and family think that I'm extremely good to my wife. From her perspective, not so much, depending on her mood. This is a very high level overview, but hopefully gives more context and empathy towards her. There is an edit number 4. Thank you everyone for your input. I read every single comment and message, though don't have time to respond to all. All this feedback gave me pause and encouragement. The overwhelming majority of you have been supportive and practical. I will be applying what I have learned in the meantime and frequent a therapist more. I move out next Thursday and will provide an update on how things go when I'm settled. Wish me luck. Oh boy. And that is the end of that story.
There you go, man.
Wow. Yeah. There's not much else you could do.
No.
Try to go to therapy.
Yeah.
Try to talk to her and empathize with her. But if a little distance is what you guys need, then maybe that's what you need.
I'm hoping that you guys you get that distance, you move out. She has her like finding herself moment and then hopefully comes around and sees like, oh, I need help.
But that is the end of that story and the end of the episode.
So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.